Okay guys, my name is Kristoffer Liicht and I'm from Denmark, and today I'm going to be talking about the development of Copenhagen Panna House as we see up here. Copenhagen Panna House is my street soccer organization in Denmark, where a lot of the work that we do surrounds itself around activating kids. When Ghetto Games approached me to come speak, I said immediately yes. Because the first time that I saw Ghetto Games, my mind was just like exploded. I realized that this is like the future of street sports. The work that they're doing here in Latvia is absolutely amazing. I was actually going to come with my soccer ball and show you a couple of tricks, but then Norwegian Airlines, they took my ball. So blame them. No tricks for you today. I'm sorry, guys. Then I was going to talk to you about Copenhagen Panna House, which is also a professional team. We're one of the world's best teams. We have a lot of titles within the street soccer world. Won a couple of world championships, won a couple of European championships. So that's all good. And then you're all like, Panna House, what's that? Does anyone know Copenhagen Panna House? Anyone? Hands up. Oh, I see one there. That's good. 2, 3, 4, 5. Wow, okay, that's better than expected. Awesome, awesome. Panna is a very special form of street football, and it surrounds itself around the nutmeg, putting the ball through the legs. And it's a relatively new sport. Street soccer is not a new sport. Street soccer has been played all over the world for years, you know, in the Brazilian beaches, Copacabana, in Holland, in Asia. You know, football has been played everywhere in the streets, in different neighborhoods. Old sport. Panna? That's a different story. Panna, what it is, it really incorporates the most beautiful things from street soccer. It's all the skills, it's all the tricks, it's all the magic that happens with the football. It's usually played 1 versus 1. It can be played 2 versus 2, 3 versus 3, 4 versus 4 as well. But 1 versus 1 is the most common form. And the way that you often play is that you are in a small arena in a ring. With 2 goals, 1 goal on each side, and the player that scores the most goals is the winner. If you make a panna, if you put the ball through your opponent's legs, it's game over, knockout. So like kind of think UFC or boxing or something like that. You know, you're fighting and you get a lot of points, and the guy who hits the other guy the most wins. But if one guy suddenly just out of the blue comes with the uppercut, knockout, it's game over. So you can be behind 7-0 and still win. Let's just play the video, guys. I think that's the best. You guys will get a feeling of the magic that happens in a game. This was my friend Emin, who won the European Championships when this happened.
Whoa. I love this skills. Last name ever.
But it's also a lot about respect for your opponent and respect for the streets. I just want to give you a quick timeline of how Panna actually happened, because as I told you guys, it's actually a new sport. It really started in the 2000s in the Dutch streets. There was boys from the hood that were really good football players. But many times they weren't really appreciated by their football clubs because, you know, they were from the streets, so they were doing their thing, and sometimes it wasn't always the right things. But they took out the anger on the streets, and they started creating some amazing skills and amazing styles, and that was completely unique to the rest of the world. And they were creating tricks that were unbelievable and unseen. And this was picked up by Nike. Nike made a tournament called Nike KO. And it was this one-on-one tournament where a panna, when it went through the legs, was counted as a knockout. And this was never heard of before. They had been playing this on the streets for like a long time, but this was when it actually was picked up. And commercially, it blew up. It was on TV, and it was like this huge thing in Holland, and like everyone was talking about it. And these guys became stars out of nowhere. They went from the streets to the television, and it was this huge thing. And then 1 year or 2 years after, it kind of just died off. What I think happened is back then there was very much a negative environment around it. There was a very hostile environment because it was very much crew versus crew. It was very much, you know, east side versus west side. It was very much like Amsterdam versus Rotterdam. And there wasn't this positive mindset around it. People were very much keeping the skills to themselves and not willing to share it with other people. And they kind of forgot about the next generation. Luckily, though, we went into a period of social media and, you know, the digital age with Instagram and YouTube and Facebook and whatnot. You all know it. And it kind of gave rise to Panna again, because suddenly individuals all around the world could start taking their ball, putting the camera in front of them, and just start doing some tricks and share with other guys. And people around the world would start to pick this up and would build on top of that. And then suddenly the Panna scene was starting to grow again. And since then, we've seen a lot of initiatives around the world, both player initiatives and organizational initiatives, creating tournaments such as the European Street Cup and Panna House Invitationals. And we even had an international tournament here in Latvia this summer at Ghetto Games. That's me losing in the final. That was sad. But that was really cool that you're even making things happening here in Latvia. And just again to give it a little bit of history, because it makes a lot of sense to understand what's behind it and the context of what happened. I found about Panna and the sport of Panna around 2007, around 2008, exactly by going to YouTube and Facebook and watching these guys doing these amazing things with the ball. I thought that was the coolest thing I've ever seen. And I wasn't really a good football player at this time. I was just really, really amazed about the things that you could do with a football. So I would take out my football and I would go out every single day and I would just practice my ass off. I would practice. And I still sucked. And 4 years later, I still sucked. But I got a little bit better. What happened then was... DGI, they had arranged this workshop in Copenhagen where a guy called Sean Gagne came to Denmark and did a street football workshop. And if you guys don't know who Sean Gagne is, he's a huge influencer on the internet. He has 2-point-something million followers and is one of the frontmen for Panna. So when I saw this, I immediately came to Copenhagen to do this workshop. And I met these two guys, as you can see here, Amin to my right, or to the right here, and the Gypsy, as we call him, Suel the Gypsy to the left. Gypsy now is 37, I think, and Amin is 29. I am 24, so we were in completely different times of our lives. We're also from completely different places. I mean, I'm purely Danish. I had come from, I lived in this farm outside, far away from Denmark. I had no idea what a hood was or what a ghetto was back then. And these boys were in the hood. The Gypsy is an actual Gypsy, and Amin is Moroccan. So different lifestyles, different ways of doing things, complete different mindsets and ways of living. But something just happened when we met at this workshop. We just connected in some strange way, and all through the passion of playing with the ball. So after we met, we upheld this and we started practicing together. I kept going to Copenhagen as much as I possibly could and started training with these boys. And I just saw my level rise. And I saw the level rise intact with my connection with these boys also rose. And we actually got so good that we got hired by DGI. I don't know if I told you that, but it's one of the biggest sports organizations in Denmark. It has 2 million members. And we started doing streets initiatives with these guys, and we went around and did workshops and panel shows, and we talked about the sport, and we did all these cool things. And it kind of became like a job. And when I was 18, 19 years old at this point, that was really, really cool. I could go around and I could make some money of playing football. So that was really amazing. But with my boys, we started talking and we said, it's kind of strange being under this big formal organization that's also doing swimming and gymnastics and football and handball and doing all these crazy sports. And we thought, you know what? We kind of want our own identity. We want to be able to put our positive forces into creating something for ourselves and grow something for ourselves. So that's what we did. We started something called Copenhagen Panna House, and we started with this logo that you see here. And this logo I have on my shirt. We thought we were really, really cool when we invented this. We're like, oh, Copenhagen Panna House, that's awesome. It's like acronym CPH, that's like Copenhagen. And the idea was also that just as in Holland, where we thought that the negative forces was what actually stopped the game, we wanted to reverse that. And the idea was we wanted everyone to be under one roof. We wanted to grow together and be able to share something where everyone's welcome. So that's where the house part came into the picture. At this time, we created a company, and we kept on doing the same thing, just as Panna House. So we did workshops and shows and all these cool things, and we started getting a name for ourselves in the street community because our level really started to grow, and we became really good at these things, and we also started to win. We also started to notice something. When we were going around these places and then doing these shows, there was these couple of kids that started to like follow us around everywhere, and it was the same kids. And and the same thing, every time we would go places, we noticed how good we were at making all these different kids and people smile and like have this happiness and this passion for the sport. We got together and we said, is having a company and going around and just doing this for ourselves, is that actually what we want to do? Or we saw that we could make a better effort to grow the sport, and we could make a better effort to actually do what the original vision was, getting everyone under one roof, opening the door for young people. So we actually put our company on pause, and we made Copenhagen Panna House into an organization. Something happened when we met. Something happened between us. Not only did we become better street football players, we also became better people. We learned from each other. We learned from each other's different cultures, from each other's different ages, from each other's different experiences. And we thought, you know what? We can give this to other people. So that's what we did. The vision was to create a framework wherein we wanted to feed involvement, leadership, and responsibility within urban youth cultures. We knew that we could get into, we could gain the attention of young people in a way that was completely different than other people, because we had a skill set that was completely unique to us. When we went out to these shows, the kids were amazed by what we could do with the football, and they wanted to learn these things. So the very first thing we did is we established a weekly training session every Wednesday at 6 o'clock in different areas of Copenhagen, depending on the weather, depending on the season. And it would be free for anyone who wanted to come and learn street football. And that was really, really awesome. We had a base of I think 5 or 10 kids in the beginning who were really, really interested in this very niche form of street soccer. But as we progressed and as we continued with this training session as our main part, some really, really interesting things started to happen. We were still doing workshops, mind you, still doing shows, still trying to build the sport in different ways. But it was really in these training sessions with the kids that we started to see what kind of difference we were making. Slowly it was growing. Our base went really, really fast, from 10 kids to around 40 serious kids about Panna. It's funny, the exact same thing that happened between me, Emin, and the Gypsy started to happen between these kids. They were forming like these insane friendships, and mind you, these kids were from different areas of Copenhagen, were from different. They had different national backgrounds, they had different ages, and they also had different levels of soccer. But they started to create some kind of friendship through this ecosystem, or this space that we allowed them to train. I didn't mention this, but the trainings we actually had, they didn't require anything. All they required was that we came 6 o'clock every Wednesday and just played football with the kids. We had no set, now we are gonna run for 20 minutes, now you are gonna shoot on that goal for 20 minutes, now you're gonna do this, that. No, it's nothing like that at all. We just wanted to give the kids a creative space where they could evolve by themselves and choose what they want to do with the ball. It's a complete different mentality from organized sports, something that we only as the streets have the benefit of, and something that I think is tremendous for the kids. So these friendships started to happen. Not only that, their skill level just exploded through the roof. Just as me and the other guys, our skills developed together. When these kids were helping each other, their skills were working together. Another cool thing that started to happen, nothing which we pressured, by the way, this happened all naturally, was that the kids that have been there for a long time, they started to be role models for the new kids that came. They just observed exactly the way that me and the other boys who started this initiative, we were reacting in the community, and they would copy the same way and do it to the kids. So actually, while playing football, they were learning how to treat each other with respect. They're also learning how to actually teach the skill of football to other people. And there was just this crazy positive energy between us that was just tremendous. And this started getting attention from the government, because they were seeing that we were actually grabbing kids that was normally not attainable by any other institutions or organizations, get hold of these kids that were otherwise thought of as impossible to work with. Now the government has actually started to fund projects for us where we go to schools in Copenhagen and teach Panna as well. So they've given us more pathways to grow our sport. I think the most amazing thing for me is the global effect that we've actually had, because of this simple thing that we implemented, like what started off as just one training sessions for the kids. We managed to create a real name for ourselves in the sport, because people around the world, they start to say, well, how the heck did these guys from Denmark, there's like 5 million people, how did they come out of the blue and suddenly blow off all competition in Panna? How did they become so good? And I started to use my network around the world and just telling people about how easy it is. It's just all about creating a creative environment for the kids where they can actually just express themselves. And we've started to see initiatives all around the world just implementing this. I have friends in the States who are doing Panna House USA. I have friends in Mexico doing Panna House Mexico. I'm also seeing initiatives in Japan called Panna Home, initiatives in Argentina called the Panna Factory. So we're having a larger effect here, which is also in line with our work on digital platforms. Because while we're doing all this work with kids, we're also trying to spread the sport through online media. We're doing tutorials and vlogs and different footage from these trainings, and with the kids, trying to inspire people to start the sport. And what happened is, within the scene, we started getting a lot of credibility, and we started getting a lot of respect. So actually in 2016, we were able to host the world's first ever world championship in our little niche sport that is Panna. This is the picture that you see. This was the first world championship where we had people from 4 different continents, from 22 countries, if I remember correctly, which is, like, in my world, that's just completely crazy, and we were very proud of it. In 2017, we repeated it. We had 26 countries coming, and this has actually become the staple and one of our main events. And what we're also doing is we're actually hosting, while we're hosting the World Championships for adults, we're also hosting the World Championships for the youth players, for under 15. For all these trainings, they're actually training towards something. They actually have a main goal, and they look forward to this every single year, because that's where they get to meet all their stars and all the cool people that they look up to. Let me just show you how it looked this year.
Trying to get that goal. Ooh, quick feet there, and it's a finish. Oh, and there it is.
What I tried to do with this, I just wanted to tell you our story, just try to like start a seed for inspiration, because we're gonna hear about a lot of other cool things. I want you guys to reflect over what actually happened. We were just, 3 dudes from the street who loved what we were doing, and we decided that that this feeling that we had between us, we could create something out of it and grow it into something. So we started to create this community. We tried to we started to create this belonging for these kids. And what actually happened is we started to have a platform. And now we have a platform that's not only on a national level, but on a global level, where we have huge opportunities. We've actually put ourselves in the lead on a global level for the Panna sports, just because we're doing work within Denmark that has a high socioeconomic value for the state. Yeah, I hope that that inspired you guys, and if you want to check us out, do so. You can just search Panna House everywhere. Otherwise, I'm Liicht, Liicht, and that was it. Thank you very much.
I have some question. Did you have some big plans for the future? How you can, I don't know, some plan how to growing and maybe...
Because of these years that we've been working with these kids and we've been creating this platform, some of these kids, when they came to us, they were 14 when they started. Now they're 18. Now they've been through this process. They've learned a lot of things. They've become human beings with a lot of understanding for how social projects work. So we're actually putting them out in different areas and suburbs of Copenhagen and trying to build the initiatives around the different areas and trying to grow the sport like that. And we're going to collect all of this on a national level by doing more national tournaments and around different cities. Because what happens within sports is it's very awesome to train, it's very awesome to have a family, but within sports you also want competition. You want to train for something. So that's very much the work that we're working on, and then we just want to make our world championship bigger, because like that's the coolest thing there is, right?
We are working on Panna for 4 years, and only this year we started to see that guys have started to play in right level. We know that in Russia there are a lot of guys who are playing nice in Panna, but how can we or someone develop Panna in a country where there is no street football culture at all?
Panna is a special sport because it requires a skill set that's not really known to a lot of people. It's kind of like an art, actually, being able to move the ball in these special ways. Like what really happened in Denmark, we were lucky because we were a couple of guys who had already studied the art on YouTube and already knew what was happening. But what really was the seed and what really like made it explode was this workshop where Sean Garnier came to Denmark and showed it to a lot of people and connected these people that were already a little bit interested in it. You guys did the right thing as well here in Latvia by inviting international people and showing the culture to the locals around here. Because yes, it's awesome to go on the internet and watch people do tricks, but I tell you guys, it's 2 times, 3 times, 4 times more awesome seeing it in real life.
So, for example, if the guys from Ukraine want to start to develop street football or street football culture, they should call the Panna House or Berlin Panna or
yes, even a Street Madness in Russia.
Street Madness from Russia, yeah,
stuff.
Right.
There's lots of small communities around the world working on this. We're all one big family. We all know each other, and we're really at this awesome point within the sport because the sport hasn't really matured yet. So we all know each other. I mean, the kids training at the Panna House they're training for free with the world champions. Like, what sport do you see that happen in? So, like, we're in an awesome state right now where we really can learn a lot from each other.
Now, how do you think professionals can use street sports elements in development of the professional players? Do you think that Panna or freestyle can help to the professionals?
The easy answer is yes. Within the Panna House ecosystem, we have a lot of kids. Some of the kids don't play football at all. Some of the kids play football for fun. And some of the kids play really, really high-level football. And some of the kids have also gone from playing low-level football to getting to the top teams in their clubs by playing street soccer and Panna, because they get a lot of touches on the ball. They're having a lot of fun with the ball. They're exploring a complete different element that they do in their normal trainings. Different angles. They're playing with their heart, exactly. And one thing that it really does is it boosts self-confidence. When you find out that, wow, I can actually do these tricks that I thought were impossible, then what are the limits, right? So I think creating a creative environment and implementing this into formal and organized sports could be super effective, 100%, and I've seen it with my own eyes.
So people in the sports business are thinking that street sports is nothing serious, and so street sports is forbidden for professionals. But you say completely different things. We also, who everybody here from our team, I can promise that we think the same way.
But just know it's changing, and it's changing all around the world. In Holland, the top clubs are making deals with the street soccer organizations in Holland. In Denmark, it's slowly happening as well. We see it in the United States. They're making deals with street soccer programs, so it's happening.